This is Support is Sexy, episode 270. Today we're going to talk about creating your unforgettable brand story. Welcome to Support is Sexy. I'm your host, Elayne Fluker, entrepreneur, author, and founder of Chic Rebellion Media. 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, I interview inspiring women entrepreneurs who share their wins and their lessons to help you take your business and your life to the next level and create something sexy. Here we go. Hi, everyone. Welcome to a new episode of Support is Sexy. I'm excited to have you here. It just would not be the same without you. And I'm excited to share with you, too. The past few weeks, I have been working really hard, really diligently on creating a free course all about creating your unforgettable brand story. And brand storytelling is something that I do as a part of my business. I have worked within the past year with several clients at different stages of their business or brand development in creating their brand stories. Now, if many of you have been listening to the podcast for a long time, I've worked in media for more than 20 years now. Can't believe it. 21 years. But the thing about it is I have learned over those years the power of a great story, right? And some of us think, oh, well, I don't really have a story to tell. In fact, I've worked with clients who have said, I don't really have a story. But everyone has a story. Even if you're not in business or about business, everyone has a story. Think about it. Even before you were here on this earth, you have a conception story. You might not know that story, but you got here somehow, and there's a story to that. So everyone has a story. So I wanted to do an actual series this week talking about your brand story, different parts of it, different parts of that development, different parts of that journey, and just share with you some of the tips that will actually be within the course that I'll tell you about later in the week. But giving you some examples and ideas and things that might be provocative for you and helping you think about your brand story. Think about if you already have one. Think about whether you need one. Well, I would say you absolutely need one. But think about how you want that to evolve and what you want it to represent at this stage in your business or in your career. In your career, you need a brand story as well. So think about those things as you listen to the episodes this week. And we go through some of those ideas around creating your unforgettable brand story. And actually, I think we'll start there. The idea that it should be unforgettable. That is something that I say. Not just your brand story, but that it should be unforgettable. And an unforgettable brand story, I believe, takes your business or your personal brand to the next level because it captures and communicates who you are, what you're up to, and what you're all about in a compelling way. That's the key. You want to capture it in a compelling way. This isn't to say make up something that's untrue or elaborate in a way that's not necessary. Everyone's story can be fascinating and interesting, right? We all have a journey, things that we're doing or aspiring to do. There is a story there. The key is having someone to help you bring that story out and making that story unforgettable. So that's what you want to do. Create an unforgettable brand story. Now, you might be asking, what is a brand story and why do I need it? Well, I believe a brand story tells your why. In the simplest way, your brand story tells your why. It tells the reason that your brand, and whether that's you or product or service, it tells the reason that your brand exists. It is your why. And it's funny, as I mentioned, I've worked in media for several years, and I remember in magazine publishing especially, tough editors used to say, why should I care? Whenever you brought up a story or even a story idea, we used to have these big meetings and, everyone's pitching their stories. Why should I care? Tell me why I should care. That was always the frame of mind whenever coming up with a story. Why should I care? It's not saying I don't care, but why should I care? And I believe your brand story answers that question. So the key question to ask yourself when thinking about your brand story and coming up with it, how am I communicating my story and my vision to the world? And do they understand my message? Because if you're up to something sexy, which I know that you are, and creating something in the world, you have something that you want to communicate to the world, How are you doing that? How are you communicating your story, your vision, and even sometimes you need help deciding what is your story, what is your vision. Now, the course that I'm going to tell you about later on creating your unforgettable brand story will certainly help you answer some of those questions. But as I mentioned this week, I wanted to share with you, all of my sexy sisters, I wanted to share with you all some ideas to help you sort of get thinking in that way. So you could be thinking about your brand story, your vision, how you're presenting that to the world. Are you doing it in a way that makes you happy and proud to talk about what you're up to? What I always say is you want to be able to communicate your vision and your brand story with passion and ease. So being passionate, obviously excited about it, wanting to tell people about your story when they ask, having it clear in your mind of what it is and what your vision is. And then ease is the confidence, being comfortable sharing it. That's something I work with clients on too. I know for me, not even just for everybody else, I know for me, sometimes I have all of these ideas in my head and it makes complete sense to me, but it makes no sense to anyone else, especially once I say it out loud. So I had to get clear on what my vision is and how I was communicating that to the world, and then asking myself, do they understand my message? Because if only you understand it, then it's not working, right? You can have all of the details and all of the ideas in your mind as you're doing your business. But really, if you're working with customers, and customers could be your audience, your clients, people that you work with, whoever your customer, quote unquote, customer is, as we'll refer to it this week, you want to make sure that they understand so they know where they fit in, how they work with you, or ways they can work with you, or ways they can support you, because we're all about support around here, right? So you want to be able to communicate clearly your vision, what you're about, and what your brand story is. So we're going to dive into that this week. We're going to do a series. I love doing these series every once in a while. But as I mentioned, I was creating this course and I thought, you know what? I'm going to share some of this on the podcast, offer some ideas, and hopefully get some feedback for you. Tell me, how are you creating your brand story, and what do you believe at this time your brand story is? Let me know on social media at Elayne Fluker or at Support is Sexy, and I'll be back with you tomorrow to talk more about creating your unforgettable brand story. Until then, you know what to do. Go out there and create something sexy, and I'll talk to you soon. Take care.